Welcome back to another YouKnowNate Ragnarok review.
Let's
Let's go.
argue. Hello and welcome to ExtremeGameplays, where I play games tirelessly. Today I'm back with another Let's Argue video where I go through the God of War community hot takes and express my opinion on them.
Oh, okay. I thought
Today,
these were
however,
his hot
is a
takes.
special episode. It's special for God of War Ragnarok hot takes. You guys left some pretty interesting hot takes in the top 10 bosses of God of War Ragnarok video, a video that you should watch because it's please watch it. And here we are today going through your hot takes. So yeah, let's start.
Hot takes,
Before I start this video, I want to warn you guys about spoilers. So this is a God
Spoiler
of War
alert.
Ragnarok hot take video, so you should be aware of spoilers. So if you haven't finished the game, please click out because we're gonna get into the depths of this game's story and mechanics and a lot of stuff. So just to let you know. Starting off, the first hot take by
Real.
The
This
War
is
of
so
Asgard
real.
is kind of disappointing. I mean, this war everyone was waiting for. It should be more than 3 hours. We just fought some enemies and then Thor, and after that Odin. We didn't even know what happened to Ragnarok. That's everyone was talking about. I hope this war be longer and be just like God of War 3. My God, I got a stroke reading this. Okay,
Yeah, that's bad English.
Here's the thing. You're talking about comparing this last Ragnarok battle in God of War Ragnarok. You're trying to compare it to God of War 3. And my question is,
That's
you
different.
basically just remember God of War 3 be so destructive and crazy and stuff. While yes, that is true.
Okay, my thought on the Asgard shit, dude. It needed to be longer, or even if it wasn't longer, it needed to be more diverse. The boss battles needed to be way more diverse between Kratos, Thor, and Odin. It's not, no. Like, they both took place in the same location, just different, like, phases of it. Like, that's not good. You're fighting some of the most known people in Norse mythology, and it's fighting outside of a house. Sure, maybe there's some symbolism with family and home and whatever, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I personally think it could have been written where you're fighting Thor on top of Jotungander or something, and you're going through the 9 realms or something epic like that. And then maybe you have your final boss with Odin at the house as well. I think that would have worked out better. And then at the same time, Thor would have sent Jotungander back. You mix up some stuff a lot, or you mix some stuff up just to make it a better, more just like entertaining fight. I think the build up to it was good. Maybe more diversity. Maybe they could have introduced like a new enemy or two in that, but who knows?
I'm pretty sure you mean the start of God of War 3, right? When you fight Poseidon and everything crazy is going on. But when you put it in perspective, in God of War 3, that whole battle was like, what? 30 minutes? And this... No, let's get back to this Ragnarok, the whole battle, sorry, in Asgard, and how it wasn't disappointing, in my opinion. Because for me, you see, it did everything it needed to do. Everything just gets in there. It's like, I didn't know how they would handle Kratos running towards Asgard. And they handled it perfectly well, in my opinion. I don't know, they just get in there,
but I think it just could have been more better.
And everyone is fighting at the same time. Jormungandr gets in, and I don't know, I liked it. I mean, sure, everything can be better, like after watching something, but then again, that's with everything. I personally really liked it. Like, it should have dragged on for a little longer, maybe 10 more minutes, but it wasn't actually disappointing. I wouldn't say it was
I wouldn't say it's just, I think it's underwhelming. I think there's a difference.
Could have been better, yeah, but that's with everything. Like, everything in this world can be better, but yeah, I don't really agree with this take, but I see where he's coming from. I guess he wanted a longer kind of battle going on and stuff, but I still really love it. Like, it focused on Thor, Odin, you get through some enemies here and there, some Valkyrie showcase, and it wasn't that bad. Like, you can't have it as crazy as God of War 3, you know, that game's scale, and it's different. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't agree with this take. Next hot take by Leroy Modais. Hot take: God of War 4 has better runic attacks for both the axe and blades. Now, he's right, but you don't need a lot of runic attacks. You see, with them adding the spear, I guess they had more room for other runic attacks, so they had to make room for those. So, and besides that, it's like all these amazing moves that have been added to the axe and the blades. You don't really need runic attacks, like especially when you can really abuse them for their cooldowns and stuff. I feel like they were enough. Like, I don't know why would you need a lot of crazy runic attacks, especially now that you can do the flame flash with the blades and do the, I don't know, the axe, you can charge it. You have a lot of moves without runic attacks. I don't get it. Like, having more runic attacks does not really make for better combat, I would say. Yes, there were a lot of runic attacks for the blades and axe, like a lot of them, and you could strike the argument of them being better, but then again, it's like you don't really need them when all the moves look like a fucking runic attack. Have you seen the new moves that God of War Ragnarok has? It does not need a lot of cool, flashy runic attacks. It has enough, but they could have been better, again, just like the other point, but it is what it is, and I guess it's better off this way. They didn't put a huge emphasis on the runic attacks. And by the way, I have my favorite runic attack, and it's from the spear. The artillery of the ancients is the coolest runic attacks. I don't know how you can say this. I mean, you're not saying this. I know you're saying it's for the axe and the blades, so I guess you're right, but then again, it's like they didn't really want to repeat themselves so much. Like, would you really be going that crazy if you saw the Hyperion slam again? Yes, it's cool for God of War 4, but why would they bring it back? But hey, it is what it is. Like, I mean, I agree with you about the axe and blades. They had, I wouldn't say better, but cooler looking runic attacks, but I don't really care about runic attacks.
Me neither.
So I guess I agree with this take, but it doesn't mean that Ragnarok's runic attacks look bad or anything. So yeah, let's move on to the next hot take. Next hot take by Alexandru. Right. Hot take: the arms of Sparta from Ghost of Sparta are better than the Draupnir spear from the Draupnir of War. Now with this take, I'm gonna come out instantly and say I do not agree. The arms of Sparta are really cool weapons from Ghost of Sparta. I have used them a lot. They look really cool, and it has a lot of similar attacks to the Draupnir spear. You have infinite spears, you have shield rush.
Oh shit, wait, he had a spear back then? Okay, that's cool.
The arms of Sparta, but it just cannot compete with the Draupnir spear in my opinion. The Draupnir spear's just concept is very cool in my opinion. How you can stick spears to enemies and detonate them whenever you want. It even happens with, you know, some runic attacks. You can embed some runic attacks into the enemy, and it's just a cool concept. And the fact that you can use the enemy's elements and flip the script on them is just, it's just everything I ever needed. It looks so good. It works so good. It's like, even especially with the Bifrost. And Kratos just generally has cooler moves with the spear. It's just, it even looks cooler in my opinion. It's like, other than the shield, of course, the shield from the arms of Sparta is just so goated. But the spear, the Draupnir spear, just looks better. In my opinion, it's just so beautiful.
You never played God of War? God of War is
out of Kratos' blood.
Or are you talking about the first one ever?
Much cooler in God of War Ragnarok. I just have to say this. I have to come out clean with this. They just look cooler. Has a lot of really cool depth to it. A lot of awesome attacks that control crowds for you. That one of the best evade attacks ever. Like I would say, it just has a lot of really awesome stuff going on for it. That's why I prefer the Draupnir spear over the arms of Sparta. That's basically about it for my opinion. So I don't really agree with this hot take. It is the point of a hot take. Not a lot of people might agree with it, but hey, it is what it is. Next hot take by Gary Lazar. Hot take: the real tier shouldn't be a side quest. It would have been
true. I did not like this. How, okay, you can find the real tier in some random ass prison, right? You can find him in a random prison, and then he just is around the realms doing stuff. I did not like that at all. That was kind of dumb. If anything, they didn't even give it a cutscene of you finding him. It was some just random dialogue, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're from Sparta or Kratos. Oh, I know that name." He wasn't even like very like emotional. Like he hasn't seen people in this long, and he's still like, you know what I mean? Like I think this is real. I think this is real.
For a fake tier plot twist, if we learned that the real Tyr was dead all along.
I like this.
Now, the actual sin in here is that Tyr did nothing really when you found him. He never talked about his past. He never got the memory of him remembering Kratos or anything again. It just, nothing happened about that whole plot twist with him. It's just you find him and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Now, back to your hot take.
Okay, 1 second. Food's done now. Joaquin will pick me up at 2-ish. Yeah, earlier, yeah. That's flipping. Sorry. Alright, food, I got food.
I actually agree. He should have been dead, I guess. That
he should have been dead, or maybe the real one was somewhere else, and if they choose to do another one, maybe Atreus could find him or something. And then travel to Egypt. I don't know.
Would have made the weight of Odin being Tyr way better. Because like then you would be like, okay, Tyr is this awesome guy from all these panels that we saw in God of War 4, and we never get to meet him. He's dead. Maybe next game. Maybe this, that, the third. Yeah. But you just find him, and it's even in a side quest. Like, you're totally right here. I agree with this take. It shouldn't have been a side quest. It would have been cooler if he was just flat out dead. Or maybe if we found him in a main quest. What? I don't get it. Anyways, I agree with this take. Let's move on to the next hot take. Next hot take by Who's Let? Nobody asks why Slet. Hot take. I don't understand by now why most of the bare hand combat was removed from Ragnarok. I loved the evade R1 and the punch, the cancels that you do with it, and it was removed for what? And this game was directed by a combat designer. I expected more depth, not withdrawing.
I think it's because you got the spear,
Now, this has also been something that I've been thinking about for the past couple of days, and it's that why? It's like, yes, yeah, the spear is much better than 2018's bare-handed combat, but why remove the combat? I'm not asking for a combat tree for the bare-handed. Like, okay, maybe you want us to use the spear more, but then again, the bare-handed mode should have had more moves. As this fine gentleman is stating right here, it should have had at least the forward evade attacks. In my opinion, it should have even had the pause attacks, because those were really cool. They had some depth to them. You had iframes while doing this attack, and it was cool in God of War 4. And if they weren't going to go that far with having some pause attacks with the bare-handed mode, they should have at least had some hold attacks, like hold R1 or hold R2. Just have some more depth to it. It's like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, the spear is really cool. Much better than the 2018 bare-handed mode, but still, that doesn't give you a reason to remove the bare-handed attacks. Like, it is just a straight-up downgrade from the 2018 combat, which is sad. Like, even when it comes to visuals, there is one upgrade for the bare-handed that I would say was good, and it's the light attack. The light is no longer a slow punch. Light has to be a fast hit that was
You know how much of an upgrade the light has?
Good, and it's the light attack. The light is no longer a slow punch. Light has to be a fast hit that comes out fast, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. And they fixed this in Ragnarok. It's instantly coming out. It's very fast and reactive. It's good. But then the downgrades are just very embarrassing. And even as I said with visuals, like sprinting R1 in God of War 4 it just looks so good. It's just a punch. I don't know why they turned it into this shield, but it's fine. At least we have sprinting attacks. Why did they remove all the skill tree? I'm not asking for a skill tree again, just add like 2 or 3 more moves. I don't get it. Now listen, the game is enough with just the blades and the axe as it is. Trust me when I say this, the game is really enough with just these two. Them adding the spear was also really good, but then again, imagine if the bare-handed mode was still there, because it counts as a weapon. In God of War 4, the bare-handed mode did count as a weapon. It's just you using the shield to attack. All the really cool attacks in God of War 4, they really do count as a separate weapon. So in God of War 4 you have 3 weapons, the shield, the axe, and the blades. In God of War Ragnarok you have 3 weapons and a half, or a quarter, I would say. It's cool to use the bare-handed mode in God of War Ragnarok, but I don't get why remove all the moves. Like, why? Anyways, I agree with this take. Thank you, Who's Let, for your hot take. This is not a hot take. I'm pretty sure it's a popular take, but I felt like including it because fuck! Next hot take by Sleepwa 2 I'm pretty sure it's Sleepwaker. You edited this comment! You should be exiled! Hot take. The Norse saga should have been 3 games. Oh boy. The second game should have ended with Kratos killing Thor and Atreus leaving for Asgard. Stuff like summoning Hell's army and reuniting the elves should have been expanded on in the third game. Oh, so you included your edit. I meant to say Kratos.
Okay, here's my hot take on this. No. I feel like the games would have been too boring if they made a completely new third one, because the gameplay is so similar to 2018. Obviously they added a bunch of new enemy variety and bosses and weapon types and stuff like that, but I feel like a third game, like, what more is there to add? I feel like the next entry, you need Atreus as the main character, or they go back to the OG perspective for gameplay variety, or just something. I have no idea, but
Kratos killing Thor, and after that Atreus leaves for Asgard, not Kratos killing Thor and
that makes no sense.
Okay, so whoever hears this right now, you're either gonna hate my ass or love my ass. Not actually my ass, but, you know, hate my ass. Now listen, I'm gonna be coming out in the clear here. I'm pretty sure it was the better option to go with 2 games. People did love the upgrade to the combat, but then again, I'm pretty sure Santa Monica weren't really that confident with a 3rd game of the same formula coming out in a couple of years, especially in 2018 when they hyped up Thor. Like, how are you expecting them to come out with a game of Fimbulwinter, for example, and it just ends in a cliffhanger? People would be hyped for Ragnarok. Again, that would be crazy, but then again, people can only take so much. I truly believe it was the better choice to go with 2 games because they kind of captured all I needed in this game. I know I care so much about combat and I do care about the story, but like I love the story. It wasn't rushed in my opinion. Like, how much depth do you need for characters? I don't really understand this whole argument of this guy needed to be expanded upon. Like, why do you care? Now let's take a look at the old games. Did you really see Poseidon getting a lot of depth? Hell, did you see Typhon get a lot of depth? Typhon is very important in the Greek mythology, and he wasn't even mentioned. He was just a level in God of War 2. Look, the point is, I really feel like it was enough with 2 games because they did enough. They did stuff for characters we care about. Odin, Thor, maybe not so much, but it was enough. Like, what, do you want them to expand so much on Thor that we sympathize with him? It's so cliche to sympathize with a villain. We sympathize with enough villains as it is today. Hell, we have Balder, the game was almost trying to make us love Odin, but thank God they pulled back on that. And I don't get this whole expanding on characters thingies. Like, expand on the villain maybe, like that was a flaw, I would say. Like, maybe Odin could have had more screen time in his evil bitchy self instead of his whiny 5-year-old self.
Okay. My scream is so goofy.
But I mean, then again, it's fine with me. Is expandation a word? The expandism was enough in my opinion because you don't really want to expand on a lot of characters because then your story would feel like it's dragged out. They're expanding on important characters like Kratos. This is God of War. God of War! God of War! They never expand on a lot of characters. Did you see Pandora get a lot of character development? No, you just meet her for a couple of minutes, I would say, and then you talk with her prior to that in Hades, but then again, that's it. This is a God of War game. It expands on the most important characters. Yes, I would go as far as to say they focus more on the characters rather than the villains, which is, well, you interpret how you feel about that. I don't know. I feel good about that, but like a villain should be explored, but I don't need to sympathize with him. If you explore a villain long enough, you start sympathizing with him. That happened with Balder in this universe. Imagine if they really went in depth with Zeus, like, hey, why he imprisoned all the Titans was because one of the Titans was threatening Olympus and his mother. This Titan was really threatening Hera and he was threatening to choke her to death. Then you would kind of sympathize with Zeus. Like, this is what happens when you really expand on a lot of villains. This is a special type for villain. Now let's get back to the heroes. It expands on Kratos, on Atreus. You meet Angrboda quite a lot. It expands on Freya, Brok, and Sindri. I don't know, it's like these characters are getting the depth they deserve. Even like the dynamic between Kratos and Mimir. I don't really know why you want depth for all the characters in this whole thing. Like, Freya was introduced and he was just like your average Johnny Cage, as I said in my review.
Make a Fenrir god proud.
He was a little comical, maybe? I don't know.
Gave you his boat?
Thor was talked about a lot in God of War 4, but then in this game you see his family side, and I guess that's just enough. He's been struggling a lot.
Oh my gosh,
and again, to wrap it all back to the whole argument of it should have been 3 games, like a trilogy and all that, people really wouldn't have the patience. Like there would be more people complaining about it if there was a cliffhanger, so they had to kind of wrap it up. Like, I'm sure the devs realized people will not be going that crazy for another game after this that is just still explaining the Norse mythology. It's not like the old days where people were enjoying combat that much. You know, it's just nowadays people want things fast, and I don't think 2 games would have sufficed for that. So I definitely disagree with this take, but I definitely also see where you're coming from. So yeah, I took a long time rambling there. Let's move on to the next hot take. Next hot take by Iker Vega. Hot take: Freya joining the final battle against Odin was good because it finally gave her the chance to make Odin pay for everything he did to her. Also, Freya and the Vanir. I know you didn't really like it for gameplay purposes, but I just loved it for story purposes. Also, Freya is bae. No, listen, you fine gentleman right here, before I choke this mic and make it clear for you, Freya is my bae. Mess with my waifu, and I'll end your lifeu! Now that that's clear. Look, I didn't have a problem with Freya joining the fight story-wise, but combat-wise, it was fucky as shit. They could have remedied that. Maybe Atreus would have been knocked down and it would have been just you and Freya. Because look, I don't have a problem with 2 of you guys against 1. But when it's a 3-on-1, like, what the fuck is going on my screen? They could have really done something to that. Maybe Freya gets knocked the fuck away by Odin. Or maybe no, maybe Atreus gets knocked down somehow. Or maybe the spell stays for Atreus and he cannot free himself unless later something saves him. Or they could have remedied that. Gameplay is the most important thing here. And I'm not saying it got ruined. Like, hell, I gave Odin the 3rd spot in the top 10 boss fights. I didn't say it's ruined. That was just really one gripe with the boss fight. Like, it gets too crowded and too messy, and that's what I hated about it. Also, it started looking really unfair. I know Odin calls it out, says 3-on-1, and then Mimir says, "It's don't forget me, old fucker. That was for Brok." I know, that's cool, but in reality, it is unfair and it is not fun. Like, makes Kratos really look really weak. Sorry, not weird. What the fuck? It makes Kratos look weak. I think we're gonna get touched to that on another hot take. I think it's the last hot take. I don't know. But it does really make Kratos look like a weakling fighting besides these guys. When it was a 2v1 against Baldur, it was much better because Kratos could shine there. He could show his true strength. But I'm running out of breath. It's good story-wise, but they could have fixed it for the gameplay's sake. Like, they could have made it a 2v1. Maybe Atreus is stuck somewhere, you're fighting besides Freya. Atreus joins him for the last maybe 30 seconds of the boss. Like, why not? Like, you maybe, it turns into a QTE section, and then you play as Atreus for like 10 seconds and you beat him with a QTE. A lot of stuff could have happened, but gameplay-wise, I didn't like the 3v1, and I don't agree with your take. I'm sorry. Next hot take by Mate Chiauta, or maybe Kiauta, or maybe Kwata. Hold on, this is Kyoata. Hot take, furry why the fuck did I say furry? Fury remains the best rage mode from this game by far. Wrath is good, but Fury deals tons of damage, heals you with every hit as a reward, lets you fully control Kratos for the entire raging period, and lets you stop it for very little cost. I always use it as an absolute last resort, and it never fails to save me. I disagree with this take. I truly believe Wrath is the better option since it gives your weapons, like you can use every weapon with the Wrath, except your barehanded mode, because they forgot about it. It's cool rushing towards an enemy and just getting him, and it helps with fucking the enemy up and fucking the crowd around you up. Like, it's good for crowd control. It's very useful, and you even heal from that as well, and it makes you use your rage efficiently. It's not a last trump card to kind of escape from bad situations. It's a much more efficient use of your resource. It kind of gets you back in the resource management mindset. It kind of helps in the combat so much that I don't know how you prefer Fury. Then again, it's your opinion if you prefer Fury. Like, I like Fury as well, but when you have Wrath, where I can just grab an enemy with my blade and just do an Orion harpoon that fucks the entire crowd around me, hell yeah, I need it. Or, you know, the spear special one, or the axe. Like, these are so fucking cool. They control the crowd, and if it's a big enemy, Kratos just does an alternate attack that also looks good, and damage is pretty good. Give me Wrath any day, I'll take it. Then again, here we should praise Santa Monica for this one aspect right here, and it's the rage mode and how they give you choice. Like, there's a choice for just healing of all stuff, and you like the Fury the most. I like Wrath. Duality of man. Fury is a really nice concept. Of course, it's from God of War 4. You can even do the battering ram with it whenever you want, so that's good. But I can't choose it over Wrath. Wrath is just so, so it has that.
That's how I was
also, I think this is not a hot take, and a lot of people are gonna agree with you about Fury. But if you're a combat geek, you're gonna prefer Wrath. So yeah, let's move on to the next hot take. Next hot take by Turan Yakubulu. When I don't know how to pronounce things, I just go with the Japanese pronunciations. Here's what he's saying. Well, I don't know if it's a hot take, but Atreus combat is genuinely engaging and fun. Yes, it's not as good as Kratos, obviously, but I think devs really deserve credit for that. I'm hoping for a spin-off Miles Morales style Loki game, actually. I just don't have to play a long, winded, boring Atreus section a la Ironwood in any future God of War games. This is not a hot take.
I really like the Atreus' gameplay. My take. I really liked Atreus' gameplay. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really engaging. I feel like in the Ironwood section, where you're just walking around and fighting random enemies that have barely any health, I think it got boring then. But then when you're doing it for a story purpose that you really like in Asgard, then it's more fun because you're like, damn, I'm really enjoying this story. I really want to see how this turns out, so I want to excuse me, enjoy the combat. But Ironwood, that was boring, but it is what it is.
Atreus' gameplay is actually really nice. I'm not complaining. Okay, maybe it's not really nice. I am complaining. Fuck it. It needs a lot of stuff. Like, I wish the Ingrid stayed, and I wish he had another melee weapon rather than just his bow. He has some really cool moves, and you can fly with the bow and shoot in the air. He has some cool runic attacks. He has a nice rage mode that could have been expanded upon, but then again, they didn't expand upon his combat tree. I am complaining about his combat, but it's just, it could have been a lot better, but I'm not.
Ranton made a good point. Like, imagine in Last of Us Part 2, you switch to Abby, and you have, like, none of your skills, no good weapons, and you have to play for her for, like, 10 hours. That's basically Atreus. Some people think of it like that. I was fine with it.
Like, hating it. It is good, and as you noted, it's not near as good as Kratos' combat, but it is good. And if they ever make a spin-off Miles Morales style game, although I might buy it, I don't know, who knows. If they make that, I'm sure they will expand upon his combat, but I'm sure that's gonna be for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't know. He had a lot of boring sections, although I don't know, I didn't find them boring. On a first walkthrough, you really enjoy the story and stuff.
True.
Walkie-talkies suck. At the end of the day, they suck. That's just the truth of this world. And for your hope, I sure hope so as well, bro. I hope you get to play a game as Atreus without a lot of boring walkie-talkie sections. I really hope so, because his combat is good, but it is what it is. So this is not a hot take. A lot of people agree. Actually, even I agree. I like his combat, but it could have been a lot better if he just had another melee weapon, maybe. Like, maybe if he had his whip that he uses to grapple onto enemies Spider-Man style, maybe if he could use that for a lot more combat options other than just the bow. The bow is being used for both melee and for shooting, so I don't know how you went with just that.
Maybe in that Miles Morales style game,
although I wish we could use it like as a melee weapon, but then again, I guess you couldn't have all of that in Atreus. So I basically agree here, but also disagree. I don't know. I agree for the most part, but then again, he could have been much better. So let's move on to the last hot take. Next hot take by Humble Duff. Hot take: Kratos would not be able to beat Odin on his own, as it took both Kratos, Atreus, and Freya to beat him in a fairly difficult fight. Now the thing is, in here, like, a lot of people think Odin is very, very powerful, but in fact, Zeus is much more powerful than Odin. I just want to make this clear from what we've seen. Zeus is tons and tons stronger than Odin. Odin might be smarter, but Zeus is just stronger. However, I think you're right in here. Look, Kratos has a thing in here, and it's the Goku mindset. He has a thing for holding back for whatever reason. This whole holding back shit got him killed against Thor. Imagine if Thor didn't revive him in here. He's literally dead. So we can never really know. I mean, the devs always say Kratos is now stronger than the God of War 3 Kratos with hope, like, and that just baffles me, because
I don't know,
yes,
I wish
you are
he
saying
went
that,
full
but
rage mode.
I much prefer to see that this Kratos is stronger than just being told that. Not even in game. Like, I don't know to this day, is he stronger though? Because I haven't seen,
imagine if Atreus got taken, like in my imaginary, like, Jotungander fight in the final thing, and Kratos went full fucking rage mode or something, and like maybe like he took maybe like he grabbed Thor's axe and grabbed Thor with it, and then that sent Jotungander back because he threw the axe on or the hammer on Jotungander or something. Or like he rips apart like Thor. Not Thor, Odin or something. You know what I mean? Just something to show.
God with 3 Kratos strength. Like, I haven't seen that. Maybe he is stronger, but there's no showcase of his strength.
He's probably stronger mind-wise. You know what I mean?
He should be able to handle Odin by his own, or maybe tell Freya to back off. But and then again, we're pushing to far territory here. I do believe he would have been able to beat Odin, but then again, that is again about the whole argument of Kratos' strength. The game favored story, but not Kratos' strength story, I guess. That's why it's a 3v1 in here. Like, who knows? Maybe Kratos would have been able to beat him alone. Who knows, really? But I guess with your hot take saying you think Kratos would not be able to beat Odin, I highly doubt it, because like, battles vary. Like, if Odin strangles Atreus and kills him in cold blood and fucks him up, like Kratos is Kratos can kill 3 Odins at that moment. But if Kratos is there and he's holding back with Atreus and Freya, then sure, he could get careless and even die, just like Thor's boss fight at the start of the game. So I actually do not agree with this take, but also see where you're coming from. Damn, I'm saying that for every single hot take. With that, we come to the end of today's Hot Takes Let's Argue video. Make sure to leave your hot take about God of War, everything God of War. The next episode is not going to be a God of War Ragnarok specific hot take video. So make sure to leave your your hot takes in the comment. I'm not gonna read any. I'm gonna read all the comments, but I'm not gonna react to them. I want to save all my reactions to the videos that I make for the Let's Argues. That's kind of been what I've been doing for a long time with Let's Argue videos.
Thank you.
Anyways, I'm not gonna waste your time any longer. Leave your hot takes, leave your opinion about the hot takes in this video if you can, if you have the time to. Tune into my live streams. I stream nearly every day. Tune into my videos that I...
Okay, W video, thank you. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The last battle should have been more cinematic. For example, fighting Thor while riding Jotungander. This guy watched me or something. He hits the serpent and goes to the past while we fall in front of the lodge, or Odin using tricks in battle. Imagine if we had to fight a hallucination of young Kratos, and maybe they could have got the original voice actor and made peace with that whole drama. Or Faye in the Odin fight, and Kratos goes full berserk, and defeating Odin too with that rage, and we see his full strength. Then the rest of it plays out. Yeah. That would have been way better. Alright, good video. Yeah, play God of War if you ever get a chance.